Take a look at that playoff picture. Week 12 is here, off and running with the action on Thanksgiving. We'll get one more on Black Friday. 11 games scheduled for Sunday, and then wrap things up on Monday in Minnesota. Nobody on the bye. There's movement to be had if Thursday is any indication. Back in studio with Emory Hunt, here to have a conversation about the future, which seems to be getting closer with every passing moment. I think that's a bit of philosophy there to start off this segment for you, Emory. But as we take a look again at that playoff picture, a lot happened here on Thanksgiving Day. We have a new 2 seed with the loss by the Lions and the win by the Niners. We have more space there in the NFC West, becoming a bit more clear on who might win that division. The biggest movement, the biggest moment on Thursday as it pertains to the playoffs is what in your eyes?
That the NFC North is now wide open, in my opinion. You think about Green Bay and what we've seen from Jordan Love and this offense in the last 3 weeks. Now you think about, okay, can the defense step up and make plays? You see how Minnesota is playing. Despite their loss to Denver last weekend, now the Vikings look like they can be a viable contender, not only for the division, but also for that playoff spot that could go to either them or the Packers or any one of these other teams. But I feel like now, because of today, the NFC North is completely wide open. Yeah,
the Vikings and the Lions will see each other twice moving forward. That's going to likely decide that division. When we talk about the NFC West, the Niners here now situated as a 2 seed, taking that step above the Lions, and also 2 games now between them and the Seahawks. Does this change the way that Seattle not approaches a game, but approaches what they need to accomplish moving forward? I mean, there has to be a new sense of urgency in Seattle following this loss.
I feel like their season starts now. They can't afford any more losses. This is the playoff run now for Seattle. In order to get to the postseason, the official postseason, you think about their offensive line has to be a lot better. They have to be able to run the football. They got to get healthier in the backfield. They have to get healthier with Geno Smith, who is still a little bit banged up throwing the football, but their playoff run starts next week. They can't afford any more losses based upon what we've seen and what we just talked about with the NFC North, the 2 other teams outside of the top spot in Minnesota and also Green Bay.
I'd be remiss if I did not bring up something about the Cowboys here, because they played so well on Thanksgiving, and they've been playing so well. Their quarterback, their offense right now, defense is scoring points. They're doing everything that a division champion is asked to do, but there's a 1-loss team above them in those standings in Philadelphia. They play each other once more. When you look at the Cowboys right now, and you look at the Eagles' schedule, is there a chance we're having a conversation about Philadelphia being the wild card team and maybe Dallas winning that division, or just too much work to be done with not enough time?
It's too much work to be done for opposing offenses and opposing defenses facing the Philadelphia Eagles. They're so balanced on both sides of the ball. They're East Coast version of San Francisco. They can beat you in a multitude of ways, depending on which way you want to take it any given game day. So if you want to stop the run, hey, we could throw the football 30 times a game. If you want to load up in coverage, hey, we can just run it down your throat. And on defense, we can get after the quarterback. We can turn the ball over. They play the same style of football San Francisco does. Dallas, to me, is playing an uphill battle based off who they have in that division.
Oh, to be in the South, as you see, 5-5 is the going rate in that division. Let's just say, the South notwithstanding, we're looking at what we're looking at the end of the season, not the 7 seed. Talk to me about that 7 seed. Which team, obviously arrows are pointing in different directions right now, whether it be Green Bay, Seattle, or somebody else. Who occupies that 7 seed when it's all said and done in your eyes?
That's a great question, Joe. I'm going to say Green Bay. I feel like Green Bay is trending in the right direction. Their quarterback is starting to be in unison with their weapons out there on the perimeter. They're starting to show up big and catch the football for them. You know you're going to get Aaron Jones back at some point in time, so the run game is going to be there. Defensively, they're playing opportunistic. They're able to collapse the pocket. They're showing they can stop the run enough to where they're getting teams off the football field on 3rd down. They're getting them in 3rd and long, and that's when they can be opportunistic. So Green Bay is trending upwards. I think between them and Minnesota, Green Bay takes that spot.
Season starts when those Black Friday deals start rolling in. Thanksgiving is behind us, and what is beyond us looks something like this. Eagles at 9-1, not flinching, but they have a gauntlet in front of them. The Niners looking complete here on the holiday. The Lions, 8 quarters that bring up plenty of questions, whether it be the comeback victory by the skin of their teeth against the Bears or a loss here against the surging Packers. We're having different conversations that we had 2 weeks ago, and I'd venture to guess different conversations will be had in 2 weeks' time from now.
Now, for the first time on the Morning Buzz, we welcome in the three-time Pro Bowler Kyle Long. Kyle, thanks for waking up with us this morning. And let's start with Dak Prescott, who was in his bag yesterday. 4 TDs, turnover-free ball. If he keeps up this level of play, how serious of contenders are the Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys, they don't seem like they're afraid of anybody right now. They can match up with anybody. They've got that explosive offense and guys stepping up all over the place, including the offensive line. And you heard about Collinsworth talk about the offensive line last night, and you heard about Dak talk about it after the game. I mean, it's just one of those things where we can beat you a number of different ways on offense. You take a look at their defense, guys stepping up. Shout out, tip of the cap, whatever you want to say to Deron Bland. He's been able to step in, make a name for himself, and then some. He's carved his name into some solid structures here. People are going to be looking back at this season saying, damn, how did he get this done? But it's the football team. It's Zach Martin out in space. You see him there on the highlight. It's Tyler Smith blowing guys up on the way to the end zone in the run game and finishing dudes. I think it's a true belief in Dallas. I mean, the only real thing that scares me about this Dallas team is the potential of playing San Francisco. But this is 2 different teams right now than we saw at the last meeting.
So you mentioned San Francisco being one reason for the Cowboys to potentially be scared of the future of what they can see coming down the pipes for them. But we've been down this road before with Dallas looking good in the regular season and then the playoffs coming or late season coming and they start to crumble. Aside from just an opponent matchup looking at San Francisco, what about the Cowboys concerns you with them potentially taking an L?
Man, I just feel like with their defense, they need to be able to hang with people. We've seen it at times this year where they get points scored on them, and that's a unit that it's star-studded. It's one that's got rushers, it's got coverage players, and obviously they've dealt with health like anybody else. But it comes down to matchups, really. I mean, when you take a look at the Cowboys, there's not one team that you could say they're not going to be able to compete with. But when they play with these certain teams with certain matchups, and San Francisco is the one that keeps coming to mind, and they've looked great as well. That's where the football games are played. You know, you don't play these games on paper. It's any given Sunday. And remember last time the Niners and the Cowboys played, it was, they took it personally. Some people didn't take it personally. We may find out. And that when those 2 train tracks do converge.
Yeah, let's get to San Francisco now because they took care of business yesterday in the NFC West. Seahawks had a chance to move into first place in the division, but the Niners were having absolutely none of that. Looking at San Francisco, how do they stack up with the rest of the NFC?
Yeah, I feel like they can control the fight. Like if this was a boxing match, they're going to control the fight. Look, I mean, they've got the ability to go to either one of those 2 guys, Elijah Mitchell, Christian McCaffrey. Awesome. Brock Purdy doing exactly what coach is telling him to do. And you know what? Shanahan said, we got to take care of the football. We saw that cross-body throw to the middle of the end zone last week for the touchdown, and everybody went, ooh and ah, it's so sexy. And I said, no, that's dangerous, and that's stupid. And I think that's the same thing Kyle Shanahan's talked to his guys about, particularly Brock. And I know that they hear him, and they respect their coach. And last night, you see him pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock at the end. Collinsworth again said, hey, you know what? If I'm playing against a Shanahan coach defense, watch the play action because here it comes. Next thing you know, Ayuk across the middle. There's certain things you can't stop with this team. It's the defensive front. It's big guys like Charvarius Ward on the edge stepping up, making a name for themselves. And then that interior defensive line, I really feel like is special.
So we got to see the 49ers make plays. Same thing for the Cowboys. Eagles lurking somewhere saying, hey, we still have a reason to think that we are the top team in the NFC. Looking at Seattle now, they've lost 3 of their last 4. Yes or no? Do they look like a playoff team still?
No. And you could hear it in Pete Carroll's voice in that press conference, and great job on the highlights there, by the way, on the intro. And I was listening to Pete Carroll, and he says, look, we're going to find out who we are in the next quarter of the season here, the next few weeks. And that's indicative to me of a team that hasn't figured out what they are yet and who they are. And it's up to them. They got to make that decision. And yeah, Gino's been dealing with that elbow. That's tough. As a former pitcher, anytime you get this elbow stuff, I can tell you it's nasty. It's no fun. It makes you think when you throw. But look, I mean, they've got guys who need to step up on that offense. We saw the target share for DK Metcalf last night. Go get that football. Go compete in these big heavyweight showdowns. In division, out of division, you're DK Metcalf. Go make plays. I hate to single out one guy, but there's a bunch of guys. That team got dominated by the 49ers last night.